going on YouTube? Uberman here. We're now going to do a coolant drain and fill, and actually what I'm going to do is drain out as much of the coolant as I can. Then I'm going to go back with a couple gallons of distilled water. Then I'm going to drive it around for a while, and then I'm going to come back and drain it again. Then I'm going to put some Prestone Super Flush in it. I'm going to drive it around for a good while with nothing but distilled water and Super Flush. Drain it again. Then I'm going to go back with distilled water one more time. And then, when that's all said and done, we're going to drain it out and fill it back up with Prestone Antifreeze. First thing we're going to do here is pop the cap off. And I already bought a new one. Thing's 10 years old. It's got 90,000 miles on it. So in my opinion, time for a new one. I've also got a new thermostat. So I'm going to go ahead and do a video on changing that out. But for now, we're going to drain the antifreeze. And the first thing to do is take the cap off the bottle. Come down here, and there is a drain plug right there. Don't know if you can see it very well, but be careful doing this because it's going to shoot out right here. And I don't know for sure if this has ever been done. Since it was in a front-end collision in 2013, I would assume it has, because they probably had to replace the radiator and other things that are involved with a... Normally it'd be shooting out by now. There it goes. And I'm going to go ahead and just back up and pull the whole damn plug out. There we go. Not too bad. Don't worry, I've got a container down at the end of the driveway that's catching all of this. Yeah, I do. Yeah, anyway, make sure you have a container under the car appropriate for catching antifreeze and dispose of it in accordance with your local laws, rules, regulations, etc., etc. And we'll let this drain out and then we'll come back. Alright, so we're going to be replacing our thermostat and our lower thermostat housing on this 2006 3-valve Mustang because this piece right here has been severely damaged and it's rigged up with some JB weld, and I'm not okay with that. So first thing you have to do is get you some pliers, pull these clamps here. There's another clamp right here that I've already moved. Let's zoom in here. There we go, right here, right here, right here. And there's one on the bottom. You shouldn't have to actually remove that one. As long as you can get in there with a, looks like it may be an 8. I'll tell you for sure here in just a minute. But you got to get all these hoses off first. So you're going to want to drain your coolant, get your antifreeze drained. And to make things a little easier, I'm going to remove my power steering reservoir, which is held in place only by this 110mm bolt here. I'm going to move this out of the way to give me better access to the thermostat housing itself. Alright, so we got it out. We ended up removing, I ended up taking the bottom hose off too, the hose on the side, the hose that comes directly from the reservoir, and the top hose, which I stashed down in here somewhere. But take a look at this, guys. I'm really fortunate. I took I broke all the JB weld off, and this is, I don't even know exactly what this is, but it's not right. It's severely damaged. It's just a bad deal. So now we're going to separate these two halves, the lower from the upper. I believe it's an 8mm, which I have right here. And it is an 8mm, works perfect. Grab the ratchet. Alright. So for comparison, here's the new one versus the old one. They're identical, and as you can see, we have the Ford Motor Company label right there. We have a new cap. And anytime you're going to work on your cooling system, you should always change your cap. You should always change your thermostat and the O-ring gasket that comes with it. I went back with the stock, I believe it's 180. So let's go ahead and break this off. Let's see what we got on the inside. And pay close attention to how your thermostat comes out. Make sure you put it in the right way. Most of them only go one way, but there are some that you can definitely put in either way and cause yourself a world of grief. This is the part we're going to reuse. Set it over here. Here's the old thermostat, which it's in there pretty good. There we go. Thermostat actually looks like it's in really good shape. Probably didn't need to replace it, but I'm not taking any chances. This is a Motorcraft factory 180 thermostat. You can see right on it. Maybe you can't. 180. Either way, tossing it to the side along with this, which you can see was in a... This is just not the right way to do it. Just the way it's twisted right there. You can't get I can't get it to focus. There we go. You can't get proper coolant flow like that. So chunk it. Come over here to the new parts. Put our thermostat in. Get our O-ring in there. Alright, so after coming back to the car, making sure I got this right, this is how it's supposed to look. The elbow at the bottom is supposed to bend towards the left, the passenger side of the car. It will bend the same direction as that elbow for the bypass hose. Actually, that's the coolant reservoir hose. But it will bend at the same angle. That is how it should look. So let's bolt it up. Alright, so here she is, bolted back up. Now it's time to reinstall it in the car. Like I said, I did undo the bolt because it does seem to help when you can maneuver this. Sometimes you need to maneuver it down, sometimes you want to maneuver it up and out of the way. But I definitely recommend getting rid of this. And hey, now's a good time as ever to drain. You can just literally take this and drain it out and flush out your power steering while you're at it. Alright, so I'm going to sit this back down in here like so. You can see how it goes. The bottom will go like this. The side one will go like this. This one will obviously end up going back here. We'll have to make some minor adjustments while we're at it. And then the top hose that I tucked up out of the way will go like this. And then it's a matter of putting these clamps back on. Don't forget any of your clamps. And I unplugged what I believe is a cam sensor over here, possibly. I unplugged this because the cable was sticking out kind of far, and I didn't want to snap it. So you may want to unplug that. Just remember to plug it back in. Alright, while you're at it, this is a great time to clean out this nasty overflow bottle. There's two 10mm bolts holding it in right here and right here. And since you're already going to have this hose disconnected anyway, I put it on for test purposes. You just pop that off. This whole assembly will then just lift out. Then you drop it and find the tool that you lost at the same time. Well, the best way to clean this out is take you a high pressure garden hose and just spray it in there. I usually put my thumb over this hose right here to block it off and just spray it several times. Clean it out. You can see all the gunk in there. Get as much of that out as possible. You don't want that in your cooling system. And we'll go back to finishing getting all these clamps and everything bolted up. Alright, so we've got the new housing back in there. The issue I'm having right now is after getting everything lined up, this is rubbing on that pulley. So I just sprayed this out with high pressure water. Also, this is a very good time to blow through that bottom hose, make sure everything's free flowing. Blow through this top one right here, make sure it's free flowing as well. If not, get a little pin, needle or something that you can fit in there and clean that out. The bottle still is kind of dirty, but all in all, I think it looks much better than it did. So we're going to put this back in. It's really simple. It just sits down in here. Move these tools out of the way here. Put the 2 bolts back in it, and we will attempt to line it up with that and see how this works. Alright, so here's how everything worked out once we got it all back in there. As you can see, this part here was rubbing up against this. It's not anymore. Fits nicely in here. I've been looking for pinched hoses, making sure that everything is nice and neat. This hose has a little more of a bend in it. I don't know if I can get back here and show it to you right here. It's a little more of a bend than I would like, but there ain't much I can do about it. It is what it is. These hoses pretty much keep everything a certain way, and hopefully with a little bit of time and heat, these things will set a little bit better. Otherwise, everything fits perfectly. It's just this top hose that seems like it's having a small issue, but I don't think it's going to be any problem. It's definitely better than it was. Everything is put back together. It's just a matter of filling it up. And by the way, guys, don't forget to put your drain plug back in under there. Remember, you took it out before you go wasting your money putting antifreeze in the thing. That'll do it, guys. Fill her up. One last piece of information here. When you're bleeding, or when you're done filling your cooling system, as I just found out, you got to burp it. If you get air trapped inside your engine, your coolant will not circulate properly. Now, luckily I didn't take it on test drive. I just left it sitting here idling. Take yourself a 1/4-inch ratchet, preferably an extension, and you just stick it on there and turn like so. It's really hot, so I'm not going to touch it with my hands, but you have to burp the cooling system or you're going to end up with an overheating condition and you could cause all kinds of damage to your cooling system. So just thought I'd throw that out there for you guys. It is hot. I don't want to touch it, and I also know that antifreeze is going to pour out. Alright, I went ahead and removed it, and we got nothing. So I'm going to pour some more water into this and hope that we can get something going here. It should start sucking it down on its own, and once we get water pouring out of here, we'll know that it's done. And there we go. You can see it very clearly. You can see little floating particles in it. That is exactly what we want to see. Not the particles, but see the air bubbles popping out. There you go. Just let it go for a while until you stop seeing air bubbles. Sometimes I like to help it along by squeezing. Ouch, it's very hot. But you can see the air bubbles coming out of it, see? That's why you're supposed to do this when it's still cold. Lots of air bubbles. Leave the cap off, let it run with the heater on max for 10 or 15 minutes or so. You know, let the water get circulating through it. Check your fluid level. Make sure that you keep it where it needs to be. And then lock her down. Take it for a short test drive. Keep your eye on the temperature gauge. Come back, shut it off. Let it cool off. Make sure your level's where it's supposed to be still. As long as you're having no issues after that, go ahead and take it out on the highway. Get it good and warmed up. Get the coolant free flowing through it. Again, come back once it's cooled off. Check your coolant level again. And you should be good. As for me, I'm going to be using some distilled water. I got plenty of it. I'm going to be using the Prestone flush cleaner, radiator flush and cleaner. And I'm going to run that through for probably a lot longer than it recommends. I'm probably going to leave that in there for a week or two. And make sure the system's good and cleaned out before I go back with my antifreeze. I got some really good expensive antifreeze for it. Well, expensive is like $8, $9 a gallon, whatever, 50-50. But either way, that'll do it. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and be safe out there.